ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for doing the Mangalacharan so beautifully.
Thank you, Mataji, for the opportunity. Hare Krishna.
You're so humble, Mataji. Okay, so welcome, devotees, to this session today. We are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is Further Inquiries by Vidura, and we are on text 11. So, till Radhika Kasturi Mataji joins, we can start reading the text and the purport, and text translation and purport. Do I have a volunteer for the text? Any volunteers?
Hare Krishna. Yes, I can read it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yatha jale chandramasah kampadisthatkrito gunaha drishyate san api drashtur atmano na atmano gunaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As the moon reflected on water appears to the seer to tremble due to the being associated with the quality of the water, so the self associated with the matter appears to be qualified as matter. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Soul, the personality of Godhead, is compared to the moon in the sky, and the living entities are compared to the reflection of the moon on water. The moon in the sky is fixed and does not appear to quiver like the moon on the water. Actually, like the original moon in the sky, the moon reflected on the water should also not quiver. But because of being associated with water, the reflection appears to be quivering. Although in actual fact the moon is fixed, the water moves but the moon does not move. Similarly, the living entities appear to be tainted by material qualities like illusion, lamentation, and miseries. Although in the pure soul, such qualities are completely absent. The word pratiyate, which means apparently and not actually, like the experience of having one's head cut off in a dream, is significant here. The reflection of the moon on the water is the separated rays of the load entangled in the water of material existence, having the quivering quality, whereas the load is the actual moon in the sky, which is not at all in touch with water. The light of the sun and moon reflected on matter makes the matter bright and praiseworthy. The living symptoms are compared to the light of the sun and the moon illuminating material manifestations like trees and mountains. The reflection of the sun or moon is accepted as the real sun or moon by less intelligent men, and the pure monistic philosophy develops from these ideas. In fact, the light of the sun and the moon are actually different from the sun and moon themselves. Although they are always connected, the light of the moon spreads throughout the sky appears to be impersonal, but the moon planet as it is personal, and the living entities on the moon planet are also personal. In the rays of the moon, different material entities appear to be comparatively more or less important. The light of the moon on the Taj Mahal appears to be more beautiful than the same light in the wilderness. Although the light of the moon is the same everywhere, due to being differently appreciated, it appears different. Similarly, the light of the Lord is equally distributed everywhere, but due to being differently received, it appears to be different. One should not therefore accept the reflection of the moon on the water as actual and misunderstand the whole situation through monistic philosophy. The quivering quality of the moon is also variable. When the water is standstill, there is no quivering. A more settled conditioned soul quivers less, but due to material connection, the quivering quality is more or less present everywhere. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Anni Mataji. Hare Krishna. Radhika Kasturi Mataji. Please accept pranams from everybody who have joined the group and are about to join or later watch this on YouTube. Mataji, we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 7, Text 11. We've read the text purport, text translation and purport, and we've also done the Mangalacharan. So I'd like to hand over to you. Thank you very much for sparing your precious time with us.
Hare
We really
Krishna, Hare
appreciate
Krishna,
it.
Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everyone. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisheshe Shunyavadi Paschayata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nvata Swagata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantastohi Abhadrani Vidunoti Sugrat Satam Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So this verse is very important, from the perspective that, we are not this body and we are the soul. That is being elucidated again and again. And again, in today's verse, we will definitely understand the teachings are more so talking about how we are not the body and how, we forget our identity very often, right? It's only in there is a verse in Mahabharata which clearly it is stated how we can actually cross this misconception that we are not this body, right? The misconception is what? Identifying yourselves, ourselves with the body, and it is the basis of all problems of our life. So most of the problems, whatever we look at, be it mental or be it physical or be it emotional, they all come from this misconception of identity. And that's why actually Maitreya and Vidura are speaking about this. Maitreya is picking up this very important point to say that this living entity, you know what, he is in distress regarding the self-identity. So the distress that we are talking about is because we identify ourselves with the body. So we must understand actually the reason why we are all distressed at any situation, because we are not clear about our identity. As long as we are not clear about our identity, who we are and where we come from, what is the purpose of life, there is always going to be distress. And the distress can take any form. It may be any kind of name, or it can be a combination of things that gives you distress. But ultimately, the distress is coming because we are not clear about our identity. This is the most important point that's being spoken about. The second thing that is stated is the living entity has no factual background. Background means like a man dreams, right? A man dreams and sees his head cut off. So many things in this world are actually considered temporary, but that they become very important to ourselves. Our whole life, our mind is always dwelling on those things, but they have no value. At the end of the life, supposing you fight with someone, the whole life you have enmity with that person. You cannot live life without this, without enmity. But end of the day, you're going to die. What is the value? It's not going to bring you anything, isn't it? If you think about it from that perspective, by the end of the day, if you're going to die, what value does it bring to you? You just not talking to that person, it has no value. You fight with that person has no value. So you know, but the thing is, we don't agree upon that. People could criticize you, people who are envious of you, you know, we don't have to worry much about it. Who's being affected by this? Person who's envious is affected by this. Person who's jealous is affected by it. The person who's criticizing you is affected by this. If we know who we are, what the purpose of our life is, we will not be affected by it. It's the point Srimad Bhagavatam is trying to tell us. There is no clear conception of self identity. And that's why we are all caught up. So, this is what the previous verses have also been talking about. The verse 10 also, you find the same concept. And, this verse is more so talking about we have many problems with self identity. Many things cause confusion and bewilderment in our hearts. And it's like querying, it's like considered to be querying quality of material existence. So Maitreya, he'll go deep into it and tells how now the main problem we have is because of the way we see this material world. That is why he gives this example. You see the reflection of moon in water. Suppose in the night you see the moon in the sky. The moon is not quivering. But if you see the moon in the water, naturally anybody will see that the body of the water is quivering. Slight wind is there, water quivers. So, this is the stage of material life. To the extent we are fixed in devotional service, to that extent we will not quiver much. But the moment we are quivering, then what happens? The reflection of the moon also appears to quiver. So we think the moon is quivering and we think the quality of the moon is to quiver. But actually, frankly speaking, moon does not quiver. It's always stable. But the problem we have is we have identified the moon through the lenses of the body of water. And therefore, we see everything in this world through the lenses of material senses. And because we are not in touch with our self identity, which is the servant of Krishna, we are always in distress. Because the nature of the body, nature of we are this body, then pride, envy, anger, they will always be coming because they are all identification of what I think belongs to me. This is the problem with this material world. That is what Bhagavatam is saying. Are you all with me, dear devotees? This verse may seem little technical, but it is not technical. It is just giving you the hindsight of what we are all up to. Every day we are not identifying ourselves that we are the servant of Lord Krishna. Of course, we do understand it theoretically, but to actually perceive it, it's not happening, isn't it? Frankly speaking, is it happening? No. And that needs a commitment. As I said, that needs faith. And that needs, okay, devotional service to the extent that we can. All the time, please, Krishna. That is when we identify always, yes, I'm the servant of Krishna. I'm the servant of Krishna. Nothing else but the servant of Krishna. This is constant I mean, it's not a one day thing, right? It's just a constant endeavor. And as we spoke about, this is just not like, yeah, if you, yeah, if you're having a strong desire for it, you immediately get it. No, it needs the kripa of a devotee, right? We talked about that also. How when we build this faith doesn't come to us, okay, automatically. It needs some sort of kripa from a bhakta who has that faith. So that's why this process of devotional service, the cleansing has to happen every day. And that we keep repeating ourselves, yes, I belong to Krishna. My duty is to serve Krishna, nothing but Krishna. Um, so dear devotees, this is essentially what this verse is talking about. So we think the moon is queering and we think the quality of the moon is to queer. But frankly speaking, we know moon doesn't queer. Moon is always stable. That's why it's queering is because we see through the lenses of body of water. And that is how we see the world also through our material senses. Okay. Um, our nature is Atma. We are like the moon. So why are we becoming so disturbed? Because the querying is affecting our body, our senses, but it's not affecting our true identity. It will pass. Like everything in the world, this must also pass. So why should we hold on to it? The holding on to it causes the material wings, that is the desires, right? They cause the body of water, our body to tremble. And we think the soul is also getting affected. No, the soul is never getting affected. If we choose to be affected, we will become affected. If we choose not to be affected, we will not be affected, dear devotees. This is the point. That is why Krishna has given us the slight, minute sense of independence. If we gave too much, we will always be, you know, Krishna has given minute independence. Even with this minute independence, we are in so much trouble. Then how much more independence can we have, when we have like when we say okay minute independence and we get so much into trouble. Imagine if that independence was much more than what that minute meant. So every day we have to keep telling that I'm not this body, I'm not this mind. And it's not that we are jnanis, right? No, that's not what we are being taught. When you have affection towards Krishna, then you will automatically consider yourself the servant of the Lord, and you will automatically not identify yourself with the fact that you are this body. In the next verse, of course, it will also tell you how do we get rid of this distress? How do we get rid of this disturbances? You understand the misconception of the self identity and how you can get over this problem. So, Bhagavatam actually goes in sequence, right? Bhagavatam tells us, but we don't want to accept it. Whatever Bhagavatam tells us, we know, we feel, yeah, I know better. So I'm not going to accept what Bhagavatam says. The thing is, we have come into devotional service. Absolutely. This is the transaction that is happening between you and Krishna, and everything is right. But for us to see, you say, for example, there is a loss of $1 million. Are you not going to be distressed? It's of course transactionary. Nothing in this world stays temporary. Nothing in this world is permanent. Everything is temporary. But can we be happy about the fact we lost, or not even happy? Can we just be composed about the fact that we lost, but still we are composed? Right? This is what Bhagavatam is teaching us. Everything is Krishna. But what we are identifying with? We are identifying with our position. We are identifying ourselves with a bank balance. We are identifying ourselves with the houses you own or businesses you own. And this is what is getting you to stress. over and over, Bhagavatam wants us to understand. So the real mercy is the spiritual mercy, where the identity, the self-identity, the misconception that you have is gradually diminished. So where does this mercy comes from? The mercy comes from a Bhagavat. One who has it can give it to you. And that is the mercy we should hanker for. The richness that we talk about is the spiritual richness and not the material richness. But we always think, yes, material richness is what we want in life. This has to be changed. This perception has to be changed. This is the point this verse is talking about. So we should have that link. We should have that bridge, that the purpose of this life is to glorify Krishna and serve his devotees. Whenever that is reinstated in our life, if you don't take to this process of devotional service, obviously you're going to identify yourself with the self, and you will be put in the clutters of happiness and distress, and of course everything passes. Um, but the real mercy is the mercy of Krishna. Mercy that you belong, you are the servant of Krishna. That is real mercy. As long as you have desires to be material, okay, I want this material thing, I want that, then there will be dualities. Dualities don't come when the desire is spiritual. That is the point. When our desire is spiritual, we are always free from dualities automatically. Because we don't hate, we don't love, we don't reject, we don't accept. Everything becomes a common platform for bhakti. Nothing is hated, nothing is loved, but everything is used to serve Krishna. The way we associate with devotees, we are not materially attached to devotees. But we always want to be engaged by remembering Bhagavatam through the association of devotees. So, this is the very important point Bhagavatam teaches us. One thing we must know is Prabhupada writes very nicely, right? Devotional service of the Lord is actually the mercy of Vasudeva. The only way to come out of this material misconception is actually by surrendering to his lotus feet. So, obviously, this point of surrender is taken lightly because the extent to which surrender happens differs from person to person. Yes, I can surrender maybe 2 hours of my time and be Krishna conscious, and rest of the time be materially conscious because I am bound by work. Now, when we understand Bhagavatam deeply, we know who the object of our meditation is. And it should be nothing but the lotus feet of Krishna. The lotus feet of Krishna can destroy the embarrassing conditions of material life. These embarrassing conditions of material life means what? Means forgetfulness of Krishna. It is embarrassing actually. Imagine you actually keep forgetting who your mother is. Isn't that an embarrassment? Think about it. When you keep forgetting who's your mother, that's an embarrassment, isn't it? You keep telling, I want to be devotee. But when we are full of pride, when we are full of envy, we are full of anger, isn't that an embarrassment? So actually, when we come to devotional service, the lotus feet of Krishna frees us from that embarrassing condition of material life. And what does he give us? He gives us awards of greatest desire of the soul, which is the attainment of pure love of Godhead. It's so nice of him, isn't it? And when he gives us this shelter, and he gives us this shelter for us, it is considered to be costless. Even though we are not deserving it, Krishna still keeps presenting that opportunity. Come to my lotus feet, come to my lotus feet. And you can attain love here. And we don't desire that so much. Just like a kind father, he drags us. He drags us through the circumstances of our life. If you look at each of our life and circumstances, you'll find something compelled us to Krishna, isn't it? And even now, something is compelling us to come to Krishna. It's all his costless mercy through circumstances. He's bringing us, helping us understand this whole process. Krishna is so kind. that his lotus feet is the shelter of all holy places. All the sacred authorities, everyone is in search of his lotus feet. So if you come to Krishna's lotus feet, you get the whole package actually. Even great devatas like Brahma, Lord Shiva, they're all there hankering for his lotus feet. And Krishna is so kind. He is willingly protecting everybody who simply bows down to him. Just bow down to me. He's willing to protect anybody who bows down to him. He is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he is willingly able to help us understand the goal of life. You know, we might do a lot of offenses even during chanting. But Krishna, what does he do? Oh, you know what? He's trying. Let him try. Let him try more. That chanting one round, how it becomes 10 rounds, and then how it becomes 16 rounds. It's always a magic for every devotee, right? How can I sit for 2 hours or 2.5 hours and chant Krishna's holy names? He makes the impossible possible. We as material human beings, we have grudge against somebody. But Krishna, does he have grudge towards anybody? He's watching everybody. He's in everybody's heart. He knows what he thinks. At the end of the day, you want money. That's what he knows. He's in his heart. He's in your heart. And okay, when he's in my heart, he knows, yes, Radhika wants money. When will the day come when Radhika says, I just want only Krishna and not money? And Krishna will take care of me no matter what. Whatever circumstance I go through in my life, Krishna is there to protect me. When will Radhika have this mentality? He keeps waiting for that moment when devotee only just has one desire, that is to surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna. That is how caring he is. He is in your heart, he knows what your desires are, and he waits when you will hanker or have a desire which would be that it's just you, Krishna, nothing else. So, anyways, that's the point Srimad Bhagavatam is talking about when it comes to the verse number 10, 11, and 12. And we all know the story, right? Brahmaji prayed very hard to Krishna because he had no knowledge of how to create this material world. And only after that tapasya, Brahmaji was able to understand, yes, I get a clue of how to create this material world. That's Krishna's mercy. Nothing, wherever Krishna and Arjuna is, there is victory and happiness. This is the point. Wherever that devotee is, and if he is Krishna conscious, and if he is thinking about Krishna and surrendering to Krishna and has the desire that his goal of life is to please Krishna always, then that is victory. That is spiritual richness. That is richness. Because you're then going to identify who you are really. And that will make you happy always. So, dear devotees, when we look at Bhagavatam verses, it's always trying to help us go to Krishna. You know, with each and every verse, Maitreya to Vidura, the conversation is so beautiful. You know, they go line by line. Yes, this is why the verse is there. Devotional service. That's the important thing. Knowledge is the only way to come out of this attachment to this material world. Pure knowledge is what Bhagavatam is giving us. Yes, you're not this body, and we have to come out of this attachment towards this body. We will go to temple, but we'll carry a baggage with us. That's why it's difficult for us to focus on Krishna, even when we go to temple. Right? We are always anxious. Yes, this will happen, that will happen. And that's why to hear Krishna Katha, we have to meddle with our phone multiple times to not being able to focus on Krishna Katha because of our anxiety in this material world brings us in. And that's why Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, the regular hearing of the scriptures makes a man perfect and perfect. Perfect that, he can identify himself as a servant of the Lord. That concept is being reinstated because we are manda, dull-minded. Dull-minded, especially when it comes to scriptures, when it comes to spirituality, regular hearing and serving the pure devotees should give you that power, right? Real power. Then there will be absolutely, yeah, there will be no distractions. After that, it will just, if we constantly remember the lotus feet of Krishna, then indifference towards material things could happen. Um, you'll achieve that transcendental bliss by vanquishing the miseries without delay. In Bhagavad Gita, it is being told bhakti is a science. And when we perform devotional service, pure knowledge is actually manifest. In the first canto, if you take up devotional service, two things actually happen. One is, of course, renunciation and detachment, and other is knowledge. So actually, it is not that we artificially run after knowledge, but knowledge will automatically come just by Krishna's mercy. This is important. That is why Krishna says, Priti means when we become dear to Krishna and Krishna becomes dear to us, then what happens? Then Krishna is the one who would give intelligence. Intelligence comes from him. Intelligence comes only through the mercy of Krishna. No matter how much we read Bhagavatam using our hands, it's not going to help us. That's why through devotional service, the pure knowledge comes. This pure knowledge is very powerful. So even in Prabhupada's lecture, Prabhupada actually defines what pure knowledge means in his lecture. Prabhupada said that one cannot be one cannot be in bhakti. I mean, bhakti is just, Prabhupada makes it very clear, it's not a sentiment. That's the point I was trying to tell. He makes it, you cannot take up, it's just not just a sentiment. When that devotional service happens, detachment automatically happens because attachment towards Krishna happens. We don't put an effort. Yes, I have to be detached. It automatically happens. When you love somebody, you know, when previously you would have loved material things, but now because of your love towards Krishna, other material things may become irrelevant for you. It automatically happens. It's not that we are trying to force ourselves to detach. So, Prabhupada says bhakti is definitely, it's not a sentimental thing. It's based on pure knowledge. That's why he says, study my books. Until you study Prabhupada's books, we cannot put them into practice, isn't it? It's very hard to understand what bhakti is. If bhakti is just a sentiment, then yes, but Prabhupada defines bhakti as pure knowledge. He says pure knowledge means I don't belong to this material world. What a nice point, isn't it? But we say, oh yeah, I belong to this material world. I don't belong to this material world. I am a spirit soul. Therefore, my job is to serve the Supreme. I don't belong to this world. We are in this world, but we don't belong to this world. This is the point Srila Prabhupada stresses us. Actually, we belong to the spiritual world. That is the whole reason why he says, read my book so you'll understand you don't belong to this world. The point is so difficult to understand, right? We are in this material world, but we don't belong to this world. We think everything connected to us belong to us, and therefore, since we are connected to this material world, we are belonging to it. That's kind of our feeling. But Srila Prabhupada says you don't belong to this material world because your business is to serve Krishna. Then we understand, yes, after reading so many books of Srila Prabhupada, we understand, yes, okay, theoretically I understand. I belong to the spiritual world. My duty is to please Krishna all the time. But since we are in this material world, we actually think this material world belongs to us. Second point is to be able to come to the understanding that our business is to serve Krishna, we have to get that pure knowledge. How, in the lecture, Prabhupada says, actually, why is it that Arjuna could surrender to Krishna? Arjuna could surrender to Krishna because he realized who Krishna was. If we don't realize who Krishna is, then it's not possible, isn't it? So, pure knowledge is very important. And that's why, listening becomes very, very important. Every day, listening to lectures, every day, understanding the pure devotional service from the mouth of pure Vaishnavas, it becomes mandatory for us to gradually understand, yes, I don't belong here. It's very powerful. Knowledge is very powerful. It's not like material knowledge. Even with material knowledge, you can do so many things. Remember, a PhD can do this, that, do so many things that we think are impossible, even with material knowledge. Imagine the impact that transcendental knowledge gives. Transcendental knowledge is it's in relation to the Supreme Lord. It must be connected to Krishna. And when this comes, what happens? There is a complete suspension of the way in which it works with the material world. The whole work of material knowledge is suspended by transcendental knowledge. See, suspended means it's not gone. It's suspended. As long as you are in the material world, you have to suspend these facilities. The moment you stop the process of devotional service, that link is broken. And there will be suffering. There is no other way. That's why you suspend it. So Krishna consciousness suspends the waves and works the rules of these material modes. In other words, the material modes don't touch us if we take up seriously devotional service on the platform of transcendental knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. These will make it firm. You'll not be bound by the modes anymore. Yes, I need to do this. This is all modes driving you to do that, right? You'll not be driven by modes anymore. Studying dear devotees and getting an understanding that, yes, first of all, I do. That's why each and every verse has a connection and deep meaning, and Acharya's commentaries further back up Srila Prabhupada's commentaries. How do we become free from material engagements? How do we become free from getting material pull? For that we have to understand the bliss, the ever uh, everlasting bliss, which is in association of devotees, which is in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, which is in chanting Krishna's names, which is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Dhruva stories, like how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to listen over and over. You know the story, you know the intent, you know what it is about, then why you keep hearing it? You don't get satiated. When we get satiated, there is a problem. We have committed offenses. That's why we become satiated. How sweet is Bhagavatam? Sukadeva Goswami, he didn't want to eat. He didn't feel like eating, drinking, nothing. Why? Because of his attraction towards Srimad Bhagavatam. Because of his attraction for Sri Krishna. To talk about the pastimes of the Krishna, you don't go through pain. You don't go through suffering. You don't want to have anything. Because this is so relishing that what's about it with the food? Nothing. When children are hearing these Bhagavatam, it actually touches their consciousness, right? They become purified. It should bring you a smile onto a face that, yes, Bhagavatam is purifying the hearts of younger generation of kids. It's something. Pure knowledge means I don't belong to this world. I belong to Krishna. I am a spirit soul. I am the servant of Krishna. And then we must understand why Arjuna agreed to serve Krishna. Because Arjuna received this pure knowledge. Bhagavatam gives us that pure knowledge. Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, they all give us that pure knowledge. In this material world, we run after money, we run after a person whom we like. It's all fruitless labor of love. You think I love you, but it's so laborious. And when you get a slap, then you wake up and realize, oh, what am I doing? This is what is material world. So there was a boatman and he used to live in a village. He came to the banks of the rivers and he met his old friend who's now a boatman. And he says, bring me across to this village. I want to see them. After so many years, boatman actually met the scholar friend and he was very happy. The boatman was rowing, and the scholar said he studied so much, he thought, let me ask the boatman what things he has studied. That's the problem with the material knowledge. You become proud of it. I know this, I know that. Do you know the quality of water? Do you know what this water is composed of? Do you know what the chemical formula of water? And then he keeps telling the boatman, 20%, you don't know all these answers, 20% of your life is wasted. And then he asks about plants around them and what the botanical names are and what is this, what is that. And when the boatman says, I don't know, he says another 20% of your life is wasted. And then he said, I don't have any knowledge of this, I will row the boat. A few moments later, suddenly the rain came, the storm came. In a matter of time, the boat started to wobble. Boatman knew, of course, swimming, but the scholar has lost all his confidence. Then boatman came to the scholar and said, I hope with all the knowledge you have studied, you also have the knowledge how to swim. And the scholar looked at his friend and said, I don't know how to swim. And boatman told him, 100% of your life is gone. You told me 20% here, 20% there, all my life, I've wasted. 100% of your life is gone. So the problem is, as you all know, we are all aging, dear devotees. That actually scares me all the time, because we don't have much time. How much life have we wasted? One decade has gone, 10 decades have gone when you're 10 years old, 20 decades have gone when you're 20 years old, 30 decades, 30 years, 40 decades, 40 years. But imagine how much more is left. This is the point the story is trying to teach us. How much have we wasted and how much life is yet to remain? Are we going to at least understand the importance that Krishna is everything? So we have so much knowledge. We have never translated them into actions. So what's the point? You may know so many things, so many verses. You may have by hearted and everything, which is very good. It helps you to become clean. It helps you to approach Krishna from an intellectual standpoint. But the point that our acharyas and Srila Prabhupada stresses us is that we have to approach it with bhakti. Then automatically knowledge will come. If you ask a devotee who's practicing Krishna consciousness, they can actually explain how scientific this process is, right? Um, children, you won't believe, they have, they want to know about God, but they would like to they would like to have an understanding of it scientifically. Okay, if my parent tells me this is what it is, don't look at a broken mirror, I wouldn't question why I should look at a broken mirror. But these days the kids want to know, yeah, what's the scientific? It just doesn't seem right. I don't know how you're connecting the dots and then you don't want me to see a broken mirror, right? They want to know what is the reason for why you do what you do. That is why learning of Shastras becomes even more important to even teach your younger generation, because they are not going to accept it. If you say something is transcendental, they are not going to accept. They don't know what that transcendental means. They want you to be able to help them understand so they can understand it with and process with their mind. So you should be able to fulfill the requests of younger generation. For that, how Srila Prabhupada has given us these books, so that even if somebody is able to come from an argumentative point of view to be able to understand Krishna consciousness, he has made it possible. In this verse, Maitreya just brings up this point that we should get the mercy of Krishna. The mercy of Krishna is what would help us understand who we are, right? The last verse, I mean, even if you look at Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, it stresses the importance of association of devotees. Performing a devotional service in the association of devotees. Then you become Krishna consciousness. Then you become Krishna conscious. Otherwise, if you're not with like-minded people, we will not get what we want. Right? That is why we must be in the association of devotees whom we think are great role models. I want to be like him. It's not that you become envious of him. It's just that you follow in his footsteps. Our competition is always with us. How do we progress? How was I a year back and how am I now? Am I submissive? Am I submissive to devotees? Am I submissive to Krishna? Am I doing things that Krishna wants me to do? Am I getting involved myself in the transcendental loving service of his devotees? Am I lauding it towards material nature? Am I becoming attached towards the things of this material nature? I want to possess this, I want to possess that. Our weakness, the weakness of the heart that Bhaktivinoda Thakur always says is the weakness of the heart, desire to lord it over the material nature. That is why mercy is not flowing quickly. That is the bridge between us and Krishna. Because we lord it over the material nature. When we are the center, we lord, okay, yes, we are the center. We are not submissive to Krishna. We want things our way or no way. This is all happening because of Hriday Durbalyam, weakness of the heart, right? It increases the propensity to lord it over the material nature. This is the point. Over and over, we just come back because we are in this material world. It's easy to be entangled in this material world, right? It's easy to be attached to this material world. And the point is, we must keep hankering that we come in touch with the pure devotee, and that we be able to see and serve the pure devotees, and that we be associated with them and constantly be hearing Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita from them. And that way we will get out of this entanglement that we are on. I'm this body, I'm this mind. Just imagine how beautiful your life is if you are not entangled, right? So calm and so composed. Whatever happens, it's all under Krishna's control. Okay, I don't have food to eat, no problem. Krishna will give me. When Krishna gives me prasad, I'm ready to take it. Till then, just be relishing Krishna Katha or relishing the activities of devotional service. This is what a pure devotee does day in, day out. Imagine that mood of service. So we can't, attachment cannot be killed, dear devotees. It has to be transferred. So we can kill our attachment, it just has to be transferred. Attachment for material things is material consciousness. Attachment for Krishna is Krishna consciousness, isn't it? And consciousness is therefore the platform of attachment. Consciousness, in other words, how we attach with someone depends on our consciousness. What we are attached to depends on our consciousness. And consciousness means our attitude. Attitude, your consciousness is driven by your attitude. If your attitude is devotional, your consciousness is devotional. If your attitude is, material, then that's what it is. So if your attitude is that we want to bow down before Krishna, your consciousness that I want to bow before Krishna, then you see there is a link between attitude and consciousness. Therefore, we want to be attached, and that attachment is important. And all we do is we increase our attachment towards our spiritual master, about our service to devotees, about pleasing Krishna every time. And eventually that attachment towards material things will go away. This is the point. Okay. So again, dear devotees, we just know these things theoretically, like how, even when we have a business plan, we do have it written down, but when it comes to execution, it can be totally different. You will come across so many difficulties to even execute the plan that has been detailedly put forward in paper. That's exactly what would happen in devotional life too. We have this in theory, we know everything in theory, yes, but that's not deeply ingrained, because again, we are in this material world, and then within ourselves we have these three modes. All this is causing sort of tussle, or to make us believe the real is, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I'm not the feelings, I'm not, what I'm associating myself with, I'm not the CEO of company. But within us, there's material modes of nature, they are playing a big role to align our attitude towards the goal. It has so many desires. The mind keeps coming up with this, that, so many things. At the end of the day, we are not even able to prioritize with our material desires, and what about spirituality is last in the game. So, dear devotees, I think this verse has helped us to deeply understand. Yes, you know, you who you are. Try to understand who you are and work towards the goal, because not much of our lifetime is left. We just have maybe a decade, another decade to go. I don't know. Even the less, we don't know when something can happen to anybody is totally unpredictable at this point. But given this precious human life, we should love to devote that to the service of Krishna. Wrap up the material things, plan your retirement, and march towards the goal of engaging your life in Krishna consciousness, and be dedicated to it all lifelong. At least take some preliminary steps and go forward and march towards. So Krishna will be very happy. So with this, we will conclude today's lecture, dear devotees. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about this verse. I learned a lot. And let's just pray to Lord Krishna, our spiritual master, um, that they give us the strength to overcome the dualities of life, to be able to keep Krishna in the center. So even if difficulties come our way or anything comes our way, our goal is not taken away. The goal has to be kept in heart, deep inside the heart. Always pray, yes, I want to be in Krishna's service. I want to be in service of devotees. I want to do as much as I want in this life. Give me that opportunity, Krishna. I may not perfect my life, that's totally fine, but at least give me this opportunity so I can be in the service of pure devotees of the Lord. And then try as much as possible to use that God given life. Hanker for more and have desires more along the way. So Krishna can take one at a time and fulfill them one after another if our desires are pure and strong. With this, we will conclude Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripasandubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our spiritual master. Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotees.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for an excellent class today. Very powerful. I think you were personally talking to me the whole class. But before we open up to any questions or comments, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Gurudev. Madan Gopal Prabhuji Das has joined us. So welcome to the group, Gurudev, and thank you for your association today.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for
Krishna.
having me. Thank you for the class, Radhika Mataji. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. It's
Hare
my blessing that you're here in the call. I don't have enough words, but thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, we open it up to any questions or comments. I mean, this was an alarm. You have really spoke very loud and clear, very, very loud and shrieking in my ears that we don't have much time. And maybe you said a decade, but for some of us, it might not even be that much. So thank you for reminding us and asking us to see everything in the material world as spiritual and trying to get connected and always thinking of the lotus feet of Krishna. And by lotus feet of Krishna, you meant listening to the instructions of your spiritual master. Because when you talk about the lotus feet, it is where your spiritual master, even Lakshmi Devi, even Tulsi Maharani, they all are at the lotus feet. So all these exalted devotees are there. So when you listen to the instructions, you also transport to the lotus feet of the Lord. And I liked the comment that you made about attitude. Attitude is equal to the consciousness, and it depends on that that you get attached to. So that was again a very powerful point. Today's session was a lot of powerful points, beginning with how we have misconception of our identity, and then what our purpose is. So thank you, Mataji, for those wonderful points. It's a session that we need to keep on hearing and getting the mercy of your spiritual master, and then Krishna is the ultimate goal for us in this stage. I open it up to any questions or comments. I know we have exhausted our time, but I think we can take one or two questions if there are any.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Mataji, thank you so much for this lovely class. Whatever you said, we have been thinking about it. In fact, I was thinking about it a lot today. So thank you so much. You've just reiterated my thoughts. And also, I learned so much from this class about what you said, desires that we have, material desires, and how this is the reason as to why we're not able to go back to Godhead. I have a question. The holy saints like Premanand Maharaj and spiritual masters, ISKCON gurus, um, like, would you say that they descended for us? Or would you say they also have karmas left, and that is the reason why they've incarnated to go back to Godhead, or both would be the reason? Yeah, thank you. That is my question. Hare Krishna. Thank you again.
Yes, very beautiful question, Mataji. So as far as who's descended and who's who, I mean, that is only between Krishna and the devotee, right? We are not supposed to judge anybody. We are not supposed to make a remark, or we can't even understand. Only a pure devotee can understand another pure devotee. I will not be in a position to understand, who okay, my spiritual master's glory to an extent a pure devotee would understand. So only a person who has this will know who that other devotee is. So we at our level, we have to understand that they are all exalted personalities. Of course, they could be coming from Golok Vrindavan to help us, or it could be that they could act as role models for us. But at all points in time, we take spiritual master as our God, because God has given us the opportunity. Through them we are able to serve such highly I mean pure souls we are able to serve, and that's because of Lord's mercy that we are able to get that opportunity to serve them. And by no means we are judgmental about them, and we don't know anything, and we just completely surrender to them based on the faith that they have towards the Lord. And why they came to this material world, that's only that discussion is between Krishna and them. They have a unique relationship, only they will know. And who they may even know their pure identity. We may not even know, because they could be a Raganuga Bhakta. We don't know all that, in the hindsight. But our goal is to serve such pure souls and then elevate our consciousness. And if they are here in this material world, that's good for us, because we are able to get purified through their mercy. And who they are and why they are here for, is it their karma? All that questions are unnecessary at this point, because we are not even there to we are here to refine ourselves, and we don't really worry about why and what status others are. You know what I mean, Mataji? They are all, if you are considering your spiritual master, then we consider them to be God, and we just worship them in that status, because we are not, only when we are humble to them can we be humble towards Lord, right? So that's how we look at it, and our relationship is that it's as pure as a servant master relationship, and we just serve them with our full heart and give our full 100% to them, so that we can elevate from our consciousness. Hope that makes sense, Mataji. I'm sure His Grace Madan Gopal Prabhu can add to this if he would like.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's a great question. And you very rightly said, Radhika Mataji, that we are not in a position to decide or determine whether a particular devotee is what they're called Nitya Siddha or Sadhana Siddha. There are two. Nitya Siddha means they came from the spiritual world for the explicit purpose of uplifting the souls and giving them Krishna, waking them up. Sadhana Siddha is someone who was woken up by one of these, or by the process. Sadhana means that they reached perfection by the process of sadhana. Sadhana process itself is powerful enough to take us to the point of perfection. And at that point, you can't really tell a difference. You cannot tell a difference because both are siddha, you see, whether they came from above or they came from below. It's like when someone has a PhD, whether they had previous PhD or not, or if they came from a family with nobody even studied anything, doesn't matter. Both have PhD now. So in that sense, both are siddha. So it doesn't really matter as such. However, we are asked by Rupa Goswami to make a distinction between the three categories of devotees: Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttama. See, that he tells us we must do. At that point, we cannot say, who am I to judge? There's a reason why he says we should do this, so that we know how to interact with them appropriately. See, then we know Kanishta is a person that we want to offer respect from a distance. Madhyam is a person we want to become friends with, open our hearts to. And Uttama is a person we want to serve and try to get as much mercy and knowledge from them as possible. You see, so we cannot interact with them accordingly if we don't know what the categories are. So he gives us the symptoms of how to decide and determine. See, so Kanishta, the symptoms are that they like Krishna consciousness. You see them coming to the temple and whatnot. They do the things, but they may not be very good at treating everybody nicely. They mistreat other devotees, or they mistreat other people. They're just kind of harsh and rude, or their knowledge of Krishna consciousness is kind of okay, but not very deep. But mostly you can tell by the behavior that they still have some work to do. So in that case, we respect the fact that they're coming to Krishna, and that needs to be there, very, very important. If we don't respect that, then we end up making offense, and we destroy our own Krishna consciousness. We must respect them because they came to Krishna. That's it. But at the same time, he says we should respect from a distance, meaning we don't get too close to them, try to be too friendly, like open up your heart for them, because we don't want to be affected by their the way they roughness, So that's the problem. But we respect them. And then, of course, Madhyam Adhikari means, how to identify. Their philosophy is very strong. They cannot be shaken, and they treat everybody very beautifully. Like you just enjoy being in their company, and so on and so forth. See? So that's important. And then Uttama is a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Of course, they know how to treat everybody nicely. They can convince others about Krishna. And day and night, all they think about, how can I give Krishna to others? See, that's qualification of them. So now once you know the qualifications, we know how to approach them. But we don't even distinguish now among Uttama Adhikaris that, did they come through the process of their own sadhana, or did they come descending from spiritual? That's not relevant for us. So Radhika Mataji very clearly and nicely explained that we are not in a position to discern that. and in one sense, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. What difference does it make? Siddha means siddha. Their association is uplifting, purifying, and exemplary, that we can follow in their footsteps. And that's what matters. All right. Thank you, Chandni. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Beautiful explanation.
Any other questions or comments? I think we have exhausted our time. We don't have any more time for questions or comments, but can I request Eastern Prabhu, are you able to end the session for today? Hare Krishna.
My humble obeisances, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for the wonderful class today and a lot of powerful points taken home by the devotees and also me. And I would like to appreciate the presence of His Grace Madan Gopal Das Prabhuji for joining our session today. Thank you so much. And I will invite each and every one of us to unmute and chant one round of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in the glorification of Her Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji for the wonderful class.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Ancha
Vancha
Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Srila
Grantaraj Srimad
Prabhupada
Bhagavatam ki
Ki Jai.
Jai.
Her Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji
Kasturi
ki,
Mataji
Ki
Ki
Jai.
Jai.
all glories to our
His
Acharya
Grace
Hare
Madan
Krishna.
Gopal Prabhuji ki Jai.
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 Grantaraj
Hare
Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.
Ki Jai.
Hare
Those
Krishna.
to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mataji.
so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
See you all next week.
So
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.